Good afternoon, all of you. So, in the last class, we had winded up our discussion on part 1 of the Constitution, that is the Union and its territories. Now, in today's class, the first topic that we will be taking up for discussion is part 2 of the Constitution, that is citizenship. Now, the first question that is there before us is that who lives in a state or who lives in a country? So, it is the individuals who live in a state, and two types of individuals they live in a state: the citizens and aliens. Aliens means foreigners. Aliens can be of two types: of friendly states and of enemy state. Now, which country is India's enemy number one? Pakistan. China. Very good. Any other name? No. Nowadays, Bangladesh also. United States of America. Diplomatic reasons. What is that reason? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Take. So, whatever you said, Pakistan, China, some of you said America, some of our friends have written Turkey, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka also. You can name all the countries, all are our enemies, huh? But I will be giving you the first lesson of international relations. No country is India's enemy, and the enemy country is declared only when we are at war with that country. So, no country is India's enemy country now. It was an emotional thing that you said, whether it is Pakistan or China. So, whenever we are at war with a country, that country will be termed as an enemy country. Since we had no war with any country when we did not enter into a full fledged war with Pakistan, so we cannot term Pakistan as an enemy country. So, here the individuals live in the state. The two types of individuals they live in the state: citizens as well as the aliens. Now, our concern is that of citizen. Now, the question before us is, who is a citizen? A citizen is an individual who enjoys full membership of a political community. That is, he or she enjoys all the political and legal rights. So basically, when you are asked such type of definition, we are not supposed to tell the process by which a person can become an Indian citizen. Many times when I ask, sir, a person who is born in India will be termed as an Indian citizen. It's not like that. It is the process. But why that person will be termed as an Indian citizen? The reason is that he or she enjoys all the political and legal rights. The non-citizens, the aliens, they do not enjoy all the political rights and all the legal rights. Now, coming to the next aspect, what are the rights which are exclusively enjoyed by the citizens of India? इंग्लिश बहुत डिफिकल्ट तो नहीं बोलता हूं ना. So here, this aspect that we are discussing is important from the prelims point of view. Right against discrimination, Article 15, then right to equality of opportunity, in public employment, Article 16, then the six democratic freedoms, under Article 19, Clause 1, this six democratic freedoms, when we say, it means that right to freedom of speech and expression, right to assemble, right to association, right to move freely throughout the territory of India, right to reside and settle down in any part of the country, and right to have an occupation. These six democratic freedoms are exclusively enjoyed by the citizens of India. Then, cultural and educational rights. These are also known as minority rights. Articles 29 and 30. Then right to vote, Article 326. Then right to hold constitutional offices under various provisions of the Constitution. So here you see that some of you may be thinking that there is a list provided in the Constitution that these are the rights which are enjoyed by the citizens, but it is not like that. The list is not there, and wherever the word citizen has been mentioned, it means that these rights are enjoyed only by the citizens. For example, when we talk about article number 15, Article 15 says the state not to discriminate against any citizen on specific grounds, on the grounds of religion or place of birth, caste, sex. So the word citizen has been mentioned. In Article 16 also the word citizen has been mentioned. Then if we talk about the 6 democratic freedoms, here also it is mentioned that the citizens will have the right to. And then when we say cultural and educational right, here it is also mentioned every section of the citizens, having a specific culture and language, a script of his own, has the right to conserve the same. So here also we have seen that the word citizen is there. Then when we say Article 326, it talks about universal adult suffrage. And when we say this last point, right to hold constitutional offices under various provisions, you see from the office of the President of India, the first qualification is he must be the citizen of India. Then the Vice President must be the citizen of India. Our members of the legislature must be the citizens of India. So these things have been written down in the Constitution. The first qualification is citizen of India. CAG, citizen of India. Judges of the Supreme Court, High Court, citizen of India. That is what we have written here. Right to hold constitutional offices under various provisions of the Constitution. Rest, all our rights are enjoyed by the non-citizens also. Your right to freedom of religion. Then if we talk about the other rights, that is right to life, right to liberty, all these rights are enjoyed even by the citizens, non-citizens. So this is the first important thing that we need to discuss. Now, coming to the next aspect, what the Constitution says regarding the citizenship in India. Now, the heading we can write here, constitutional provisions with respect to citizenship. यार पढ़ लो आराम से, बहुत गर्मी हो रही है बाहर. कहाँ तुम। और शिवा बेटा, थोड़ा सा धैर्य रखो। हाँ, ठीक है, थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखा करो तुम। पहले जितना ज्ञान देता हूँ उतना ले लो बेटा, मुझे पैसे मिलते हैं पढ़ाने के। ठीक है, और तुम तो कुछ भी लिख रहे हो वहां पे। हाँ, और शिवम आप उसका क्या जवाब दे रहे हैं? आपको कंपनी पैसे देती है बेटा? हाँ, तुम भी बहुत बड़े बेवकूफ हो। ऊपर से वो क्वेश्चन लिखते हैं, तुम बेवकूफ की तरह आंसर लिखते हो। शिवा बेटा, अमेरिका में प्रेसिडेंट नहीं होता है। अमेरिका में किंग या क्वीन होती है, क्राउन। ठीक है बेटा। हाँ, उसके बाद और बताता हूं। तो ये सब थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखा करो। अब बड़े बच्चों को पढ़ा रहा हूं यार, तुम भी इस तरह से करते हो, सर को दुखी कर रहे हो। हाँ, सर के दिमाग में बैठ जाएगा ना कि बेवकूफों को पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो फिर समझ लो सर कुछ भी पढ़ा के चल देंगे। हाँ, ठीक है। उस दिन तुम लोग मेनली, मेरे को एक टीचर ने बोला है कि ऑनलाइन, चाहे जो बच्चे बोलते हैं ना ऑनलाइन कर लेंगे, वो कभी देखते ही नहीं है वीडियो, फिर 3 दिन के बाद फिर क्लास में बैठ जाते हैं और पूरा पुराना पूछने लगते हैं। ठीक है, तो बेटा ध्यान दिया करो, ठीक है। हाँ, अल्टीमेटली आपका रिजल्ट हम लोग चाहते हैं, और फोकस करो यहाँ पे, जो जरूरत है वही। और एक लड़का ज्यादा स्मार्टली सोच रहा सर को पढ़ा देंगे, लिखता फंडामेंटल राइट्स एंजॉयड ओनली बाय द सिटीजन। गलत गलत वहां पे मत टाइप किया करो, ठीक है। हाँ, ध्यान दो यार तुम लोग भी, क्या बताऊं तुम लोग। हाँ, सब सोचेंगे सर गलत पढ़ाते हैं, और तुम लोग अपने जहां न पहुंचे रवि वहां पहुंचे कवि हो जाते हो। हाँ, फोकस्ड रहो, ऑनलाइन के बच्चे फोकस्ड रहो बेटा। हाँ, फोकस्ड रहो, ये ध्यान देना। इनको तो मैं सबको फोकस करके रखता हूँ ये। हाँ, तुम लोग भी फोकस्ड रहो थोड़ा, तभी तो रिजल्ट दोगे ना। कोचिंग करना ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं होता है, क्लासेस करना ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं होता है। योर ऑब्जेक्टिव इज टू सी योर नेम इन द मेरिट लिस्ट। तो ये चीज हमेशा ध्यान रखिएगा। और कुछ लोग मास्टर बन के जो आंसर देने लगते हैं ना, गलत गलत आंसर, वो भी मत दिया कीजिए। चलो, मैं बता रहा था कि व्हाट आर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजंस with respect to citizenship. You see, in our constitution, we don't have elaborate provisions with respect to citizenship. And we have got some articles, that is articles 5 to 11, which have got provisions with respect to citizenship. And here, not all the articles have to be mugged up, some articles have to be understood. So one sentence you can write here: the Constitution has no elaborate provisions. The Constitution has no elaborate provisions with respect to citizenship. With respect to citizenship. Full stop. Articles 5 to 11 Articles 5 to 11 talk about the following main provisions. The following main provisions. Underline करना, following main provisions. First, who at the commencement of the Constitution was the citizen of India. So Article 5 came into force from 26th of November 1949. This I had told you in the very second class. So on that day, that is when there was the Constitution had commenced, who was to be considered as citizen of India? This is the first thing which is mentioned in the Constitution. by domicile and by migration. By domicile, it is mentioned in article number 5. अभी भी बहुत सारे स्टेट्स में डोमिसाइल मांगते हैं ना, when we talk about jobs in a particular state. So what does domicile means here? रेसिडेंट. तो क्या क्या प्रूफ देना पड़ता है उसके लिए? कोई जमीन आपकी है या क्लास 10 तक आपने वहां पढ़ा है कि नहीं, these things are to be given. So in article number 5 it is mentioned that at the time of the commencement of the constitution a person can be was a citizen by domicile. What is this domicile, or who will be the Indian citizen by domicile? First, who was born in the territory of India So here you see that the first point will be applicable not for us because we were not born at that point of time. Even as you people are very young, so your father may not be born at that point of time. I am a bit elder than you, so my father was born in 1942. So he was the Indian citizen by domicile. And not only this, your grandparents must be the Indian citizen by domicile by this first criteria. So it is not applicable for us. Then secondly, either of whose parents was born in the territory of India. Either of whose parents was born in the territory of India. Then thirdly, who has been ordinarily a resident of India five years before the commencement of the Constitution. So here if we see, सॉरी यहां पे ना एक सिंगल एल होगा, मैं गलती से लिख दिया. Who has been ordinarily a resident of India 5 years before the commencement of the Constitution. The last clause will be applicable for the foreigners who were living in India. They did not go back to their country and basically they were there under the government of India. For example, if you talk about many Englishmen, they were working in India under different departments and most of them were in the Indian railways. So that they were termed as Anglo-Indians. So how the Anglo-Indians got the Indian citizenship? It is because of this clause, because they were living in India 5 years before the commencement of the Constitution. So this is the first clause, by domicile. Then coming to by migration, it is mentioned in article number 6. It is a common sensual thing that we can use here. And here if you see, migration means those who had migrated from the area which is now in the territory of Pakistan. So they were given Indian citizenship at the time of the commencement of the constitution. So लिख लीजिएगा, a person who migrated to India from the areas or from the area now in the territory of Pakistan territory of Pakistan. Now here also there is a clause. So those who will be coming back to India on or before 19th July 1948, they will be given automatic citizenship. The date was 19th July 1948. This date was fixed by the Constituent Assembly, and here those who had come before or on this particular day, they were to be automatically considered as the citizen of India by migration. इसके बाद जो लोग आए, those who came after this, they had to fill up an application form before an officer appointed by the government of India for that purpose. ये तो ना जिंदगी भर आते रहोगे. So yes, so an officer was to be appointed and they had to deposit their credentials before that officer. So this date has been mentioned in Article 6 of the Constitution. Now there is no need to read Article 7 as such, but I will tell you that in Article 7 also some other aspects are there. It is related to the persons who had gone to Pakistan at the time of partition, but they had returned to India after some time. Because you see, the way in which the people who had migrated to India were treated, the people who had migrated to Pakistan were not treated in that way. India mein to we have given them land also. Abhi in Delhi, if you give, say in Mukherjee Nagar, most of the persons who are living, they were, because the local population I am saying, so they had come to India after migration. So they have been given land by the government. Not only this, if you talk about another area, Gujranwala town, those who had come from Gujranwala in the territory which is now in Pakistan, they settled in the area called Gujranwala town. Then Derawal Nagar, फिर उसके बाद अगर यहां भी देखोगे तिलक नगर वगैरह का जितना भी एरिया है, yes, so we have got those people who had migrated to India. Then, but some people who had gone to Pakistan, they were not treated well by Pakistan, even though they were Muslims, and they came back to India. So if they came back to India after 19 July 1948, they had to re-register before the officer that we had gone there, we have got this proof, and we want to come to India and we want to settle in India. So they were also to be given or accorded Indian citizenship. So those who had got, these things are only for the purpose of understanding. article based questions may not be asked in the examination. But yes, we need to understand it, what type of provisions are there for the Indian citizens. So that aspect has been mentioned in article number 7. So there is no need to go by it. Then the second aspect, so this is the first thing what our constitution says, who at the commencement of the constitution was the citizen of India. Then secondly, it prohibits dual nationality. It prohibits dual nationality. So here, when we say dual nationality, if a person has acquired the citizenship of another country, he cannot be the citizen of India. So a citizen of India cannot simultaneously hold the citizenship of another country. So here लिख लो अपने अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए, a citizen of India, a citizen of India who has acquired the citizenship of another country, the citizenship of another country not to be citizens of India. So you cannot be an American and an Indian at the same point of time. Then Article 11 authorizes the Parliament to make any provision. I repeat, Article 11 authorizes the Parliament to make any provision with respect to the acquisition and termination of citizenship and all other matters relating to citizenship. With respect to the acquisition and termination of citizenship and all other matters relating to citizenship. So Article 11 has been authorized that after the commencement of the Constitution, you make laws. That is how a person can acquire the citizenship of India, how the citizenship can be lost, and if the laws are needed for citizenship, you can make laws. So who has been authorized by the Constitution? The Parliament. So you see, the first sentence that we had written, the Constitution has no elaborate provisions with respect to citizenship. Ab a hard worker, what he will do? He will try to mug up all the articles which are there. And even in the state PCS examinations, you may have seen that article based questions are not asked here. What is Article 5? What is Article 6? Yes, you need to have an idea. But they will not be asking you what is Article 6, what is Article 7, or what is Article 8. Now, when the Parliament has been authorized, now you need to connect the things. So Article 11 says authorizes the Parliament, that the Parliament by law. So what the Parliament did, the Parliament enacted the Citizenship Act of 1955, which has been amended from time to time. So in the next sentence you write, accordingly the Parliament passed The Citizenship Act 1955, which has been amended, which has been amended from time to time, which has been amended from time to time. Generally, people in this country are so ignorant. They say CAA. तो जब मैं बोला CAA, तो CAA का मतलब क्या हुआ? सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट. लेकिन CAA लोग किस चीज को बोलते हैं? उसी को बोलेंगे, लेकिन कोई स्पेसिफिक ईयर वाले को बोलते हैं. बट इस देश में पता ही नहीं कितने बार CAA हो गया. नहीं बोलते द CAA. तो बेसिकली दे टेक इन टू कंसिडरेशन ओनली द CAA ऑफ 2019. बट CAA means Citizenship Amendment Act. Whenever the Citizenship Act was amended in 1986, in 1993, then after that in 2010, every time it was termed as Citizenship Amendment Act. Acquisition, बेटा acquisition की spelling ये है. एक्विजिशन का मतलब होता है टू एक्वायर. अब हिंदी में नहीं पूछना बेटा. हाँ, ये हो गया. ठीक है, ये है एक्विजिशन की स्पेलिंग और ये उसकी मीनिंग हो गई टू एक्वायर. नाउ सो फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम द सिटीजनशिप एक्ट has been passed, and the Citizenship Act as it was passed in 1986 and 1992, it provides for 5 methods of acquiring the Indian citizenship. So in the next sentence you can write, according to the Citizenship Act 1955 as amended in 1986 and 1992 and 1992, there are 5 modes of acquiring Indian citizenship. By birth, by descent, by registration, by naturalization, and by incorporation of a new territory. So there are 5 methods. आप अलग अलग भी एक एक करके लिख लेना, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, मैं तो एक साथ लिख लेता हूं. So here, one by one, coming to the first aspect, by birth, it is very easy. We can use our common sense here. So a person, आगे क्या लिखूं? Born in India and at the time of his or her birth, one or both the parents are Indian citizens. The parentage clause is important. So, at the time of birth, one or both the parents are Indian citizens. So, the parentage clause is very important. It was not there in the original act. And in the original act, that is the Citizenship Act of 1955, it was mentioned anyone who is born in India will be an Indian citizen. After that, we saw that the refugees who had come to India from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, especially Bangladesh, if you see, then the kids were born to them and then they started demanding Indian citizenship. It is written in your act. Give us citizenship. Anyone who is born in India will be an Indian citizen. Then the government of India felt that it will be an unnecessary pressure on our demography. And we can say you'll have to give so many privileges as a citizen. So the government in 1986 amended the Citizenship Act and this parentage clause was added. And as a civil law can be given a retrospective effect. Retrospective means an effect from a back date. So this clause was given an effect from a back date. तो नहीं तो देखोगे कि कल बांग्लादेशी ही ज्यादा हो जाएंगे, हम ही लोग कम रहेंगे देश में. तो ये चीज है क्योंकि जगह जगह पे ठीक है वो आए भारत भाग करके, तो हम लोगों ने जगह जगह पे, आप जाओगे वेस्ट बंगाल जाओगे, आप झारखंड जाओगे, तो यू विल फाइंड दैट देयर रिफ्यूजी कॉलोनीज वेयर द बांग्लादेशीज आर लिविंग. But yes, ठीक है, you can give asylum to them, that is a different thing. But giving them citizenship will mean there will be a burden. You'll have to give different type of facilities to them. So this is by birth. It has got a Latin nomenclature that is just solely. Law of soil. Law of soil. Then coming to the second one, by descent. A person born outside India and at the time of his or her birth, one or both the parents were Indian citizens. This clause is there to protect the interests of those Indians who have born outside India. You see, many of our citizens, they go abroad, they work in the different offices of the government of India, including the embassies there. They work in the MNCs also. And if a child is born to them, the child will not be an Indian citizen by birth, but he will be an Indian citizen by descent. It has also got a Latin nomenclature that is jus sanguine, means law of blood. So we have got blood relation with India, even though we are not born in the soil of India, but yes, we by blood we are together, we are related. Then by registration. Certain categories of people can apply for Indian citizenship by registration. So it is a process. So who will be there? क्या हुआ? पानी पी लो, पानी पी लो, नींद आ रही है, पी लो एक सिप ले लो, कोई हाँ देना भाई, पानी सो देना, एसी और ये करवा दूं, 17-18 पे करवा दूं, हाँ गर्मी लग रही है, पानी वानी पी लो, थोड़ा सा बाहर टहल के भी आ जाना, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. हाँ. So here basically if we talk about by registration, so certain categories of people can apply for Indian citizenship by registration. So who are these? You can write it. The persons of Indian origin, the PIOs. The first category of people who can apply for Indian citizenship by registration. देखो, when we hear this word persons of Indian origin, they are not Indian citizens, but their origin was in India. 200 years earlier, 300 years earlier, 400 years earlier, their ancestors may have settled abroad. You may have seen many West Indian cricketers with Indian names. Can you tell me some? Shiv Narayan, then Sunil Narayan, नाम और कौन सा? अच्छा. So we have got, how many of you are from Patna? Yes sir, हाथ उठाओ ऐसे पूरा. हाँ, तुम वहां पे कहीं किसी मूर्ति को देखे हो? एग्जीबिशन रोड जानते हो? अच्छा, तो एग्जीबिशन रोड एंटर करते हो तो वहां पे एक मूर्ति रखी हुई है, देखा है तुमने? और डिवाइडर है, ठीक है, मूर्ति पे ध्यान दो. देयर इज अ स्टैच्यू. किसकी मूर्ति है वो? कभी मन नहीं किया देखने का कि ये लोग पब्लिक पैसे को कहां लगा रहे हैं? कभी नहीं सोचे, नोट नहीं किए? देखो, मैं तुम्हारे स्टेट कैपिटल जाकर के सब नोट करके लेके आया हूं. सो वो जो स्टैच्यू है लगे हुए, that belongs to Sir Shivsagar Ram Gulam. And Sir Shivsagar Ram Gulam was a person of Indian origin, and he was the Governor General of Mauritius. And nearly 400 years earlier, group of people from the Bhojpur district of Bihar, they had gone to Mauritius and they had settled there. So you see, Bihar is very much proud of these people because they have gone abroad and they are in power now. And many of the PIOs from this particular community, they are who is who in Mauritius. So basically, I just give you an example. कहीं भी आप जाते हो ना, कोई भी स्टेट में आप जाते हो, तो आपको अपना आंख और कान को खुला रखना, आधी चीज तो ऐसे ही सीख जाओगे. आप लोग सोचते हो कि सिर्फ किताब में पढ़ा जाता है. किताब में कोई ज्ञान नहीं होता है, फैक्ट्स होते हैं. बट व्हेन यू विल सी, अच्छा, व्हाई दिस पर्सन स्टैच्यू इज देयर, हु वाज सर शिवसागर राम गुलाम, तो अच्छा यू कैन कनेक्ट. अच्छा, ही वाज अ पर्सन ऑफ इंडियन ओरिजिन, his ancestors belong to the state of Bihar. Originally they were the natives of Bhojpur district. They had gone there and settled. So you will be able to correlate the things. Otherwise, your knowledge will be a bookish knowledge. So they are not Indian citizens, but their origin is in India. That is persons of Indian origin. So such persons can apply for Indian citizen by registration. Secondly, person married to Indian citizen. Sonia ji will come into this category. Yes, she is a person married to Indian citizen. people unnecessarily in this country, we have no work to do. You all know. So we sometimes, Sonia ji is not Indian citizen. She is an Indian citizen and she is an Indian citizen by registration. Then minor children of Indian parents. So here, minor children of Indian parents, two issues can be there. First, if a minor child has been adopted from abroad, he will come under this category and he can apply for Indian citizenship by registration. Not only this, if a child is born to an Indian parent outside India, then there is a regulation that the name of the child has to be registered in the Indian embassy within 2 years of the birth of that child, so that the formalities can be fulfilled. So basically all these things will come under registration. But here there is a technical requirement for citizenship by registration. Here, before applying for Indian citizenship, the person concerned must have fulfilled the residential qualification of living in India for 6 years. Okay? You can write it. You can write as note. In case of registration, the person must fulfill the residential qualification of living in India for 5 consecutive years. मैं गलती से 6 बोल दिया था. 5 consecutive years. But when we say 5 consecutive years, here it will mean not 365 days per year. It will be considered as 90 days per calendar year. So in one calendar year, you will have to live in India for 90 days. And that 90 days will not be consecutive days. You come to India, live here for 30 days, 10 days, 12 days, go back to your own country. But in 1 year, we can say in 1 year, you need to live in India for at least 90 days. And that has to be for 5 consecutive years. There should be no gap year here. कोई गैप ईयर नहीं होना चाहिए. Then only you can be able to apply for Indian citizenship. So 5 years residential qualification is required and 90 days per calendar year. Then coming to naturalization. पहले पुराने वाले लॉ में 7 years इन्होंने कर रखा था. जो नया लॉ है उसमें और भी पुराना किताब अगर पढ़ोगे उसमें लिखा हुआ है सिटीजन्स ऑफ कॉमनवेल्थ कंट्रीज, वो सब खत्म हो गया है. अभी वो सब क्लॉजेस को हटा दिए हैं. यही 3 क्लॉज अभी है. एंड 5 years ऑफ रेसिडेंशियल क्वालिफिकेशन इज देयर. देन कमिंग टू नेचुरलाइजेशन. You see, anyone in this world means who will not will not be there in category 1, 2 and 3 can apply for Indian citizenship by naturalization. So anyone in this world can apply for Indian citizenship by naturalization. So here you can write any person not falling in the above categories can apply for Indian citizenship by naturalization. By naturalization. Full stop. He will have to fulfill the residential qualification of living in India for 12 years. Will have to fulfill the residential qualification of living in India for 12 years. And here also it will be 90 days per calendar year. So 12 years for naturalization. So Mother Teresa was an Indian citizen by naturalization. Now, here basically if we talk about registration or by naturalization, so these qualifications are required for the purpose of applying for Indian citizenship. Whether to grant Indian citizenship or not is the prerogative of the central government, because citizenship is a subject in the union list. अब तुम घर में सोए रहे हो, थोड़ी ना सपना आएगा अच्छा इसको दे देते हैं नेचुरलाइजेशन, 12 साल शायद रहा होगा. So you'll have to apply, and whether to accept your application, grant citizenship, is the prerogative of the central government or the union government, because citizenship is a subject in the union list. So who grants citizenship to the persons? It is the union government, not the state government. Then Divya, NRIs and PIOs, these are two different things. NRI is a person who has been living outside India for 5 consecutive years, who has been ordinarily residing outside India for 5 years. He will be termed as a non-resident Indian. NRI carries the Indian passport. He is, sorry, not 5 years, it is 6 months. So suppose you are living in Bhutan for 1 year, you will be termed as an NRI. You are living in Angola for 8 months, you will be termed as an NRI. So anyone who is living outside India for 6 months or more, he will be termed as an NRI, and NRI is an Indian citizen. He carries the Indian passport. Whereas when we talk about the PIOs, PIOs are not Indian citizens. They are the citizens of other countries. So here we are not to be confused between NRI and we can say a PIO. Then coming to the last one, by incorporation of a new territory. Here one sentence you can write. When a new territory is acquired, by India, comma, its people are offered Indian citizenship. Its people are offered Indian citizenship. I repeat, when a new territory is acquired by India, its people are offered Indian citizenship, and if they accept it, the government of India is bound to provide them citizenship. Here in these two cases, in case of registration and naturalization, the person cannot claim Indian citizenship. He can only apply for Indian citizenship. But here if we talk about by incorporation of a new territory, here if a territory is acquired, then the persons will be offered Indian citizenship. If they say yes, then the government is bound to give them citizenship. For example, when Puducherry became a part of India, Puducherry was a French colony, and in 1960, when the French people were going, they gave it to us. We offered them Indian citizenship. Many of the people who are now in Puducherry, they did not accept the Indian citizenship. So they are living in Puducherry, but they are the French citizens. They are not Indian citizens. They are enjoying the rights which the others are enjoying, except the rights which are exclusively enjoyed by the citizens. They even vote not in the Indian elections, but they vote to elect the members of the Senate, the French Senate, because the French Senate has got some representatives of those French people who are living in the diaspora. अब आप बोलोगे sir, why these people have not acquired the Indian citizenship? What can be the logic? You see, the French government, it gives monetary benefit or financial help to those French citizens who live in the diaspora. तो जो लोग फ्रांस से बाहर रहते हैं, they are given financial help by the French government. And in the last class, I may have told you that the most important vitamin is vitamin M. So they are getting that vitamin M from France. So obviously, ठीक है, वोट ही तो देना, वहां के चुनाव में वोट दे देंगे. There is no need to vote here. But they are running business here, they pay taxes here because they can own property here also. We had an agreement with France in this regard. Then when Sikkim had become a part of India, Sikkim was a kingdom and it became a part of India later on. So the people of Sikkim were offered Indian citizenship. All of them accepted Indian citizenship and the government was bound to provide citizenship to them. So these are the 5 methods by which a person can acquire the Indian citizenship. पूरा format दिया जाता है. The whole format is there. That is, if you have applied for citizenship by naturalization, year by year you'll have to provide the details, and that is the day on which you came to India, then the stamp on the visa, the boarding pass, where you stayed in India during this period, whether you stayed in a hotel, the proof of that document has to be there. So for the 12 years you will be living in India, you will have to give the documents in favor of that. That will be verified by the government, and then only you may be given Indian citizenship. And in case of this registration, 5 years. So you'll have to give the proof that I have stayed in India at these places. And हम लोग पासपोर्ट का भी इशू करने में देखते नहीं, there is police verification that is done. So यहाँ पे भी obviously after verifying all the details, the background of that person, the citizenship may be given to that person. These are the 5 methods by which Indian citizenship can be acquired. Now, our citizenship can be lost also. बोलो. देखो, when we say dual citizenship, there are 2 ways in which we need to understand it. Generally, when we talk about dual citizenship in the way in which it is present in United States of America, it refers to a person being a citizen of United States of America and the citizen of the state in which he is living. So in that sense also we can use this word dual citizenship. It is in a context in which the things can be used. Then if we talk about the citizenship of two countries, then generally the term that is used is nationality, dual nationality. He is identified as an American as well as that of an Indian. So you cannot be the national, you cannot be the citizens of two countries at the same time. So it is in the context in which the things have been said. Under the Indian Citizenship Act, dual citizenship has been used in a different context that I will be coming after this discussion. Now, modes by which Indian citizenship can be lost. First, by renunciation. Secondly, by termination. And then by deprivation. So when we say renunciation, you renunciate something, you voluntarily surrender something. So if you voluntarily surrender the citizenship of India after acquiring the citizenship of another country, that will be termed as renunciation. That is, you have voluntarily surrendered the citizenship of India. So here you can write, if a person on acquiring the citizenship of another country, voluntarily surrenders the Indian citizenship, it is termed as renunciation. It voluntarily surrenders the Indian citizenship, it is termed as renunciation. But suppose if a person has acquired the citizenship of another country and he has not voluntarily surrendered the citizenship of India, and if the government of India comes to know about it, then his citizenship will be terminated. We have got many examples like this where people have acquired the citizenship of another country. So many small countries are there. अभी देखो मेहुल चौस्की पता नहीं कहाँ छुपा हुआ था, हाँ. उसके बाद यस बहुत छोटे छोटे देश हैं, कहीं छुप जाते हैं, वहां पे कुछ नहीं, डायरेक्ट जाओ, यू पे मनी टू द प्रेसिडेंट, पे मनी टू द गवर्नमेंट, एंड द नेक्स्ट डे यू विल बी गेटिंग सिटीजनशिप. बहुत सारे देश में तो यू आर बीइंग इनवाइटेड टू बिकम द सिटीजन्स. व्हाई? द पॉपुलेशन इज सो लेस. उन लोगों को बसाना है. So if you acquire the citizenship of another country and you have not informed, you have not surrendered, and then it can be a case of termination. So here one sentence you can write, if a person on acquiring the citizenship of another country if a person on acquiring the citizenship of another country does not voluntarily surrenders the Indian citizenship does not voluntarily surrenders the Indian citizenship, his citizenship may be terminated. Terminated. So this is termination. Now, when we see this term deprivation, then as an outsider, termination and deprivation may seem to be the same thing. You terminate the citizenship of a person, it means you are depriving the person of the citizenship. So, but the Citizenship Act has talked about different grounds on which the deprivation can take place. So, what are the grounds of deprivation? You can write it. Grounds for deprivation. If a person has acquired the certificate of registration or naturalization by fraud or by concealment of facts, it is not for us. It is for those who have acquired the Indian citizenship by registration or by naturalization. You may have forged some documents and or you may have hidden some facts and then you may have got the Indian citizenship. Or if a person within 5 years of acquiring Indian citizenship has been convicted for at least 2 years of imprisonment, this is also not applicable for us. This is also applicable for those who have acquired the Indian citizenship by registration or by naturalization. And this imprisonment can be by any court in the world. Or if a person during a war in which India was involved had illegally communicated with the enemy. These are the exact words which have been mentioned in the Citizenship Act. The word we can say treason has not been mentioned. देशद्रोह has word नहीं लिखा हुआ है, but had illegally communicated with the enemy. So illegal communication means it is a case of espionage. It is the highest criminal offense in this country that you have conspired against the country. Or fourth, if a person has been living outside India for the last 7 years and during these 7 years he was never a student in an educational institution nor nor employed under the government of India or any organization of which India is a member nor shown his intention his or her intention of returning to India and to retain his or her Indian citizenship. So these are the grounds of deprivation. So these 3 points are clear. Now when you talk about the fourth point, you see, if a person has been living outside India for how many years? 7 years. And in those 7 years never been a student, because if he is a student then his name will be there in the Indian embassy that he is a student and he has come on a particular visa and he will return back to the country after getting that education. Secondly, if the person is employed in a recognized institution or organization or under the government of India, the record will be there with the Indian embassy. What we have written? India is a member. India is a member means recognized by India. You will go outside and say I am a member of Al Qaeda, हाँ, और लश्कर तैयबा, हाँ, ये सब नहीं, ऑफ विच इंडिया इज ए मेंबर और विच हैज बीन रिकॉग्नाइज्ड बाय. भाई ये नहीं बोलोगे जाके हम डी कंपनी के मेंबर हैं, वही तो कंपनी है, ये नहीं. सो दैट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मस्ट हैव बीन रिकॉग्नाइज्ड बाय योर कंट्री. And some people basically they go abroad for some personal work, social obligations. So here every year they will have to visit the Indian embassy, and there is a form in the Indian embassy or the Indian consulate. Consulate is mini embassy. For example, in India we have got the Indian embassy, US embassy in Delhi, but we have got the consulate in Kolkata. We have got consulate, the US consulate in Chennai. It is in Mumbai. So वो क्या होता है, mini embassy. Similarly, if we talk about France, so France has got the embassy here. It has got consulate in the various cities, including Puducherry also, because many French citizens are living there. जो इलेक्शंस भी होता है ना वहां पे, अब थोड़ा ना कि वहां के लोग फ्रांस जाते हैं वोट देने के लिए, हाँ, वो क्या होता है कि जो वहां पे बूथ बनता है इन द एम्बेसी, एंड द पीपल दैट इज हु आर फ्रेंच, दे गो ऑन ए पर्टिकुलर डे इन द फ्रेंच कॉन्सुलेट एंड दे वोट देयर. So that is consulate. So it is for the Indians who have gone for other work. Every year they need to go to the Indian embassy or the consulate, and they need to fill a declaration form that I wish to return to India and retain my Indian citizenship. If a person has not done it for 7 long years, then it can be a ground of deprivation. But deprivation cannot be done arbitrarily. There is a procedure. If a complaint comes before the government of India, there is a committee that is set up, and that committee will look into the matter, and if that committee recommends, then only the person can be deprived of his Indian citizenship. So here you can write process of deprivation. A person can be deprived. A person can be deprived of his Indian citizenship after an inquiry, INQ, after an inquiry, INQUIRY, after an inquiry is conducted by a committee headed by a person who has held a judicial office in the country, for at least 10 years. 10 years. So these are the methods by which the Indian citizenship can be acquired or it can be lost. Now coming to the next aspect that we need to understand, it is dual citizenship. Or the OCI card holders. So you may be thinking that the teacher, when he started the discussion on citizenship, he held that the Constitution of India prohibits dual citizenship or dual nationality, but now he has written dual citizenship for the OCI card holders. You see, this concept of citizenship has nothing to do with the traditional meaning of citizen that we had discussed here. We had discussed here. So, here the context is economic reason. You see, when we entered the era of liberalization in 1991, after that we felt that there will be lot of investments in India. But because of various reasons, there was negligible investment in India. The foreigners did not want to invest in India because of political instability, lack of economic policies, because when there is political instability, our political executive is busy in saving the chair. He will not be interested much in the developmental work. So there was lack of a concrete economic policy in the country, and corruption was also rampant. When there is political instability, obviously the babus do whatever they want to do. Babus, you know? Babus means? जी, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स को बाबू बोलते हैं? हाँ? ब्यूरोक्रेट्स को बाबू बोलते हैं? मुझे पता नहीं, मैं तो ऐसे पूछ रहा हूं. बोलते हैं. अच्छा, ठीक, बोलते हैं. तुम्हारे यहाँ तो वो छोटे बच्चों को बाबू बोलते हैं. हाँ, बोलते हैं ना? तो फिर वो भी ब्यूरोक्रेट हो गया. वो ब्यूरोक्रेट हो गया? नहीं हुआ ना? देखो, when we say this word बाबू, बाबू ये बोलते हैं, तो बंगला में बाबू मोशाई एक अलग वर्ड होता है. From where this word babu came for the people who sit in the offices, ऐसे ही सिर्फ ब्यूरोक्रेट्स के लिए नहीं होता है. बड़ा बाबू हैं, थाने में जो इंचार्ज होता है उसको बड़ा बाबू बोलते हैं ना, बड़ा बाबू है. देखो, जमीन में जाओगे तब बहुत कुछ जान जाओगे. So how this word came basically, and it is used for the officers. Earlier, during the British time, the working conditions were not good. The working conditions were not good. अभी तो ठीक है, we have got AC offices, ये सब है. And there were lack of chair. अरे सुन ले बेटा, सुन ले. मुझे ज्ञान मत दो, सुन लो. निखिल एंड शिवम, सुन लो पहले यार, सुन लो. मैं भी रट के आता हूं ऐसे, तुम लोग तो कुछ भी ऐसे ही बोल देते हो. So basically, earlier the working conditions were not very much good, and in the offices there used to be files, scattered files. There used to be the persons, many persons working in the same office, same room, and the rooms used to stink. The rooms used to stink. बदबू आती थी रूम से. अब if an English officer, British officer used to come, तो वो आता था, तो बोलता था बदबू बदबू. ठीक है, बोलता बदबू बदबू. तो ये जो बदबू बदबू बोला ना, तो वो धीरे से हो गया फिर बाबू. ये मैं कहानी नहीं बताता हूं. ये मुझे एक बहुत ही सीनियर थे, अभी नहीं, जब बहुत पहले की बात है, 2010-11 में, जब मैं, हाँ, मॉक इंटरव्यूज वगैरह में बैठा करता था, अभी तो टाइम भी नहीं मिलता है, तो मैं एक सर के साथ बैठा था, ही यूज्ड टू बी द मेंबर ऑफ यूपीएससी। सो वो मतलब पुराने ब्यूरोक्रेट थे ना, तो वो ये सब स्टोरी बताते थे कि पता है को मुझे बाबू वर्ड कहाँ से आया। मैंने, सर बताओ। देन बहुत बुजुर्ग थे उस वक्त, तो ही यूज टू से, क्योंकि उन लोगों के पास जो एक्सपीरियंस, जो ये सब जो ज्ञान होता है ना, किताब में ज्ञान नहीं मिलेगा। तो ये है, तो वो बदबू बदबू बोलते थे, तो वो धीरे से हो गया बाबू बाबू। तो मीन्स द पीपल हु यूज्ड टू वर्क इन द ऑफिसेज दे वर टर्म्ड एज बाबू। छोटा बाबू, बड़ा बाबू, क्लर्क्स तो बोलते हैं ना जनरली, छोटा बाबू बड़ा बाबू। तो basically here you say that this I was saying that the officers, they also go here and there when there is lack of political stability, because the officers, they also will not hear, अच्छा ये आज पीएम है, कल तो चला ही जाएगा, इसको तो ऐसे भी है, हाँ ये तो पता है, डिक्लेयर रहता था रिजल्ट कि अभी जाना ही है, कभी भी खत्म। सो even the money that was given by the World Bank was not used properly in India. एंड वर्ल्ड बैंक वो तो पैसा भी हमसे वापस मांग लेते थे कि नहीं नहीं नहीं, ये 10-10 साल से ब्रिज नहीं तुम्हारे यहां बन रहा है, क्या मजाक है, हमसे पैसा ले लिए हो। तो यस, दैट वाज द प्लाइट ऑफ आवर कंट्री, एंड देयर वाज नो टेकर्स ऑफ द इंडियन इकोनॉमी बिकॉज ऑफ दीज रीजंस। नाउ व्हेन वाजपेयी जी became the prime minister of the country, then for the third time, he was the prime minister first for 13 days, then for 13 months, uske baad then he became the prime minister for the third time, and when he became the prime minister for the third time, he was assured that now he will be able to complete the term. Then he asked his think tank to think of a policy, economic policy, so that we can woo the investors. Then the think tank suggested him to make policies to woo the PIOs, because there are many persons of Indian origin who were very, we can say, successful industrialists in the world. So they gave the suggestion that, sir, it will be easier for us to woo them. Cultural linkages याद करवाओ, कुछ याद करवाओ, उनको बुलाओ, they will invest in India. Then with that intention, the Pravasi Divas Sammelan started being organized in the country. 7th, 8th and 9th of January every year. So Pravasi Divas Sammelan started in India. This is the background why the Pravasi Divas Sammelan started. And all the successful PIOs were invited in the Pravasi Divas Sammelan. They were given respect, शॉल वगैरह सब उनको दिया गया, मेमेंटो दिया गया, प्रेजेंटेशन दिया गया कि दिस इज what India has, the potential that India has, and if you invest in India, what you will be getting. Now, after this, the government started making policies also to woo the investors, to woo the investors. And first of all, it was in 2003. The Citizenship Amendment Act, it provided for the dual citizenship for the PIOs living in 16 countries. So this concept of PIO card was introduced. अभी कुछ मत लिखना, मैं लिखवा दूं. This PIO card scheme was introduced, and all the PIOs living in 16 countries, which had got a sizable number of the persons of Indian origin, those who wanted to acquire the dual citizenship of India, they had to buy the PIO card by paying $100 US. It was not free. Not free. Pay 100 US dollars and get a PIO card, you will be a dual citizen of India. What were the benefits? Come to India, no visa required. What is the difference between passport and visa? Passport is issued by the country in which you are living. It is a permission that you can go abroad. Visa is the permission given by the country where you wish to go. Where you wish to go. That okay, you have the permission to come here. So, those who were carrying this PIO card come to India without visa, buy property in India, invest in India, but no political rights. You cannot contest elections. You will be getting economic rights. After that, when Dr. Manmohan Singh became the Prime Minister after Vajpayee ji, then it was in 2005 that he introduced another card along with the PIO card. So the PIO card continued. He introduced another card, that is the OCI card. OCI means Overseas Citizens of India. Now, when we talk about these two terms, PIO and OCI, generally students get confused with respect to OCI, PIO and NRI. PIO, I said that their origin was in India. 300 years earlier, 400 years earlier, their ancestors used to live in India. They had gone abroad. When we talk about NRIs, any Indian citizen living outside India for 6 months or more will be termed as an Indian, as a NRI. And he is an Indian citizen. He carries the Indian passport. Then when we say OCI, Overseas Citizens of India. So overseas citizens of India means the persons whose relatives are still there in India, whose parents may be living in India, brother may be living in India, ancestral property may be there in India, they have taken the citizenship of another country. So that person may have taken the citizenship of United States of America, United Kingdom, Sudan, jahan ka bhi aap bolo. But their parents or their family members are still living in this country. That is OCI. So a sizable number of OCIs, they requested Dr. Manmohan Singh to grant them dual citizenship also, so that they will also be the participant in the journey of development of India. Then the Dr. Manmohan Singh's government introduced another card, that was OCI card. So two cards were introduced, but the validity was different, rates were different. When Shri Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister of this country, then in 2015, this PIO card and OCI card were merged, and we have got only one scheme, that is the OCI card holder. Definition of OCI and PIO has been merged together. So these two cards have been merged, and we have got only one concept, that is OCI card holder. The privileges remaining the same. No political rights, but only economic rights. This is the concept of dual citizenship in the context of India. ठीक, आप यही पूछ रहे थे ना, आप यही पूछना चाह रहे थे, यही चीज लिखवा देता हूं. You can write it. The Citizenship Amendment Act, the Citizenship Amendment Act 2003 provided for dual citizenship for the PIOs living in 16 countries. Living in 16 countries, 16. Full stop. Next. The Citizenship Amendment Act, you need to write like this only. Amendment will be in bracket. The Citizenship Amendment Act 2005 provided for dual citizenship for the PIOs and the OCIs across the globe. Across the globe is a phrase, means of all the countries. मैं जानबूझ के कुछ आप लोगों को वर्ड्स ऐसे लिखवाता हूं ना, थोड़ा जानोगे तभी तो यू विल डेवलप राइटिंग स्किल्स ना. सो ऑफ ऑल द कंट्रीज लिखने से आप लिखो अक्रॉस द ग्लोब. So here basically this 16 countries cap was removed in 2005. Then next, in 2015, comma, the PIO card scheme was merged with the OCI card scheme. Full stop. So both were clubbed together. In the next sentence, an OCI card holder can come to India. An OCI card holder can come to India without visa. In bracket you write multiple entries. Multiple entries. मतलब जितनी बार चाहे वो इंडिया में आ सकता है, ठीक है ना. मल्टीपल एंट्रीज है, एक बार आपने वो कार्ड ले लिया, खत्म काम. Then second point you write, he can buy property in India. Except agricultural and farmland. फार्मलैंड होता है चारागाह, ठीक है, दैट इज फार्मलैंड. सो एग्रीकल्चर प्रॉपर्टी तो ऐसे भी, इफ यू आर नॉट एन एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट यू कैन नॉट बाय. आप ऐसे भी जमीन खेती वाली नहीं खरीद सकते हो जब आप खुद किसान नहीं हो. ये भी लॉ है देश में, क्योंकि आप क्या करोगे ना, यू विल मिसयूज दैट लैंड. सो द एग्रीकल्चर लैंड हैज टू बी ब्रॉट बाय एन एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट. अमिताभ बच्चन एक बार लैंड खरीदे थे यूपी में, तो उनसे पूछ दिया कि आप प्रूफ दो. हम लोगों का तो चलो ठीक है, प्रूफ है कि हमारे दादाजी का हमारे पापा के नाम पे जमीन होगी, तो फिर हम लोग भी बन गए खेती है, ठीक है ना, हम लोग भी कृषक बन गए. ये चीज है. अब हरिवंश राय बच्चन जी का होगा कि नहीं होगा पता नहीं है, तो उन्होंने फिर प्रूफ दिया उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार को कि भाई ठीक है, ये चीज है, हम किसान हैं, तो फिर वो जमीन खरीदे. तो हाँ, ऐसे भी आप ना जो नॉन एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट हैं वो एग्रीकल्चर लैंड नहीं खरीद सकते हैं, क्योंकि उसका पर्पस अलग है. चारागाह है, तो आप चारागाह ही खरीद करके दुकान बना दोगे. सो वेयर द कैटल्स विल ग्रेज. सो सच टाइप ऑफ वी कैन से इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स आर इन्वॉल्व. दैट इज व्हाई no agricultural land and no farmland. Then next, He can invest directly in projects in India. He can invest directly in projects in India. But no political rights, no political rights, and he cannot hold office, and he cannot hold office in defense services. He cannot hold office in defense services. So जो सिविल नेचर है जॉब का, ही कैन बी अपॉइंटेड एज ए कंसल्टेंट, जैसे नीति आयोग में ही कैन बी अपॉइंटेड एज ए कंसल्टेंट, but not in the defense services. Even as a consultant, he cannot be there. Up. Then you can write in the next point. The citizens of Pakistan, Bangladesh, and any other country, as notified by the government of India, from time to time, cannot apply for dual citizenship, of India. So it is clearly mentioned in the Citizenship Act, Citizenship Act, that you cannot, the citizens of these countries cannot even apply for Indian citizenship. What can be the logic behind it? Terrorism. वो सही बोल रहे हैं. Everyone will become an Indian citizen. भाई everyone will be a person of Indian origin. सारे तो वही है ना भाई, एक ही तो हैं हम, एक ही हैं. अगर इंडिया, पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश ये सब देखोगे तो कल्चरली तो हम एक ही हैं. जो इंडिया में कल्चर आपको मिलेगा वहां भी वही मिलेगा. हाँ, आजादी के बाद थोड़ा डेवलपमेंट वहां पे खत्म हो गया है, मतलब अलग हो गया है. हाँ, वहां पे आप बसेस को देखोगे तो फिर लगेगा कि कहाँ विचित्र जगह में आ गए हैं. ठीक है, वो आपको थोड़ा लगेगा, तो वो चीज अलग है थोड़ा सा, क्योंकि डेवलपमेंट में आप थोड़ा आगे बढ़ गए हो उनसे. तो ये चीज, क्योंकि उनके पास और भी अच्छे काम है करने के लिए, हमारे पास सिर्फ डेवलपमेंट है करने के लिए, उनके पास और भी अच्छे अच्छे काम है करने के लिए जहां उनका रिसोर्स डाइवर्ट होता है. तो ये चीज है. तो जो भी है, जैसे जिसको रहना है वैसे ही रहता है ना. तो मैं ये बता रहा था कि लेकिन एक्ट में लिखा हुआ, तो ये नहीं समझना टेररिज्म है. तो हाँ, टेररिज्म तो एक अलग रीजन है, चलो वो तो बात की बात है. बट एवरीवन विल बी एन PIO, ये सब है. सो इवन दे कैन नॉट अप्लाई फॉर इंडियन सिटीजनशिप. देन इसके बाद सिटीजनशिप एक्ट 2000, अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2019 कभी एग्जाम में आया नहीं आज तक. ठीक है, एनी आइडिया व्हाट वाज दिस सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2019 व्हिच वाज फेमस एज CAA? हाँ, दिस सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट अब ये लागू भी हो गया है. इट हैज बीन इंप्लीमेंटेड ऑल्सो. And the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, it aimed to give fast track citizenship to the Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, Sikhs, Jains and Parsis who have come to India from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan, and they are living here without any document. So these minority groups in the three countries, they are being given fast track Indian citizenship. And when we say fast track Indian citizenship, it means they are being given Indian citizenship within 6 years. That is, if they fulfill the residential condition of living in 6 years. Under naturalization, it is 12 years. 12 years, but the citizenship is to be given within 6 years. अभी तो रूल्स भी बन गए हैं, 2024 में नोटिफाई भी हो गया फरवरी में, एंड द सिटीजनशिप इज ऑल्सो बीइंग गिवन. तो ये है, एंड द लॉजिक इज दैट द पीपल, द कैटेगरीज दैट आई नेम्ड, they are religious minorities in these three countries, and they have come to India and are living illegally in India without any paper, because they have fled from these countries because of persecution on religious grounds. Persecution का मतलब होता है प्रताड़ना. It is not prosecution, it is persecution. So they were persecuted on the ground of religion. That is why they fled to India. And that is why the government of India decided. And it is not that anyone who will be coming now will be given citizenship. No. The date was fixed by the government of India that any person belonging to these categories had come to India on or before 31st of December 2014 will be eligible to apply for fast track citizen of India. Lot of misconceptions were there in this country that now the Muslims will have to go back to Pakistan. ये सब बहुत रूमर लोगों के बीच में उड़ा दिया, लेकिन अभी तक एक भी लोगों की नागरिकता गई नहीं है देश में, अभी तक नहीं गई है. वो जाके ना सब पर्चा वर्चा बांट रहे थे कि अब तुम्हारा तो सिटीजनशिप गया, ये है वो है, हाँ ये सब है. तो ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है, अभी तक किसी की सिटीजनशिप कहाँ गई है इंडिया में, कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है. सो बेसिकली this was an act to give citizenship to those who were not living in that country and they had fled to India and were living illegally without any document because of persecution on the basis of religion. हम लोग हमेशा सोचे कि सवाल कहीं ना कहीं पूछ दे, but since 2019 आज तक 2024 तक not a single question has been asked from here. अब कहाँ पूछेंगे? ऐसे भी सिटीजनशिप जो है ना वो थर्ड ग्रेड टॉपिक होता है. थर्ड ग्रेड टॉपिक करना सवाल वाल नहीं पूछते हैं, यूपीएससी में नहीं पूछते हैं. रेयरली द क्वेश्चंस आर आस्क्ड. ये तो ठीक है, फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ कंटिन्यूटी वी डिस्कस इट बिकॉज इट इज आवर फाउंडेशन क्लास. सो वी नीड टू नो ऑल द एस्पेक्ट्स. क्योंकि सिटीजन नहीं जानोगे सो हाउ यू विल नो अबाउट द राइट्स ऑल्सो. सो भाई यही सिटीजन है जो राइट्स एंजॉय करेंगे. सो अ बेसिक आइडिया आई वांटेड टू गिव यू अबाउट द सिटीजनशिप. नाउ कमिंग टू अनदर टॉपिक दैट वी नीड टू स्टार्ट टुडे. It is a very important topic for our life also and for the examination purpose also. It is part third of the constitution. बोलो. जी जी, उनका पर्सनल चीज है क्रिटिसाइज करना. अब तुम्हारे घर में पड़ोसी के यहां से कोई आए, तुम्हारे घर में जगह नहीं है रहने को, रखोगे नहीं ना, तो बात खत्म. तुम्हारे यहां कोई आए, तुम्हारे यहां थोड़ी सी जगह है, तुमने उसको दिया, खाना भी तो खिलाओगे ना. खाना खिलाओगे, खिलाओगे भाई. तुम्हारे यहां कोई आया है, वहां कहीं से आया है, ही इज नॉट एबल टू अफोर्ड फूड, तो आप खाना खिलाओगे उसको ना. कितने दिन तक खिला लोगे? कुछ ही दिन तक खिला पाओगे. ठीक, वो भी तुम उसको खाना खिला रहे हो और देख रहे हो कि तुम्हारे पड़ोसी के साथ मिलकर के तुम्हारे अगेंस्ट में कॉन्स्पिरेसी कर रहा है. तब तुम क्या करोगे? तुम्हारे घर में चोरी भी कर रहा है, 100-100 रुपए निकाल रहा है, तुम क्या करोगे? पता चलेगा तो निकाल दोगे ना. इतना ही मेरा बोलना काफी था. ठीक, हमें इंटेलिजेंस इनपुट मिला था कि ये जो रोहिंग्याज हैं दे आर इन्वॉल्व्ड इन सम एंटी नेशनल एक्टिविटीज ऑल्सो बिकॉज वी हैव गॉट आवर ओन एजेंसीज एंड एम्प्टी स्टमक्स आर प्रोन टू एवरी टाइप ऑफ इलीगल वर्क. भूखे पेट से तुम कोई भी गलत काम करवा लो, वो कर लेगा. एंड आवर एजेंसीज दे हैड कम टू द कंक्लूजन दैट we can say the forces, the divisive forces, the non-state actors, they are in touch with the Rohingyas. और उनके साथ तो ऐसे मिक्सअप हो जाओ तो पता भी नहीं चलेगा जी पर्टिकुलर एरिया में. एंड बेसिकली they were becoming the part of the sleeper cell. स्लीपर सेल क्या होता है कि बाहर के एजेंट्स आते हैं यहाँ पे इंडिया में गलत काम करने के लिए. स्लीपर सेल वगैरह मतलब वो लोग कहीं ब्लास्ट करना हुआ, कहीं कुछ करना हुआ, ये सब में उनको यूज करते हैं. तो वी गॉट दिस इनपुट. ठीक. Then the government of India decided that let them go to their own country, will not be able to live with them. उनको हम रख ही नहीं सकते हैं. ठीक. अभी तक शायद हम गलत थे, हो सकता है हमारी एजेंसीज गलत होंगे. But the day on which the government of India declared that Rohingyas will be sent back, the chief of Jaish-e-Mohammed said, ये तो बहुत गलत हुआ. Now, who is that non-state actor to comment on our policy? It means something fishy was going on. Something fishy was there. So basically, various aspects are taken into consideration while giving asylum to certain group of people. We have given asylum to many people in this country, in this world. You see, the Tibetan are also living in India. That many of the Tibetans have been given citizenship in India. They are there in the universities as teachers, as professors also. अपने यहाँ DU में भी हमारे काफी मित्र हैं, तिब्बतियंस हैं, जो प्रोफेसर भी बन गए हैं. Then आप देखोगे कि they live peacefully in India. वो peacefully रहते हैं यहाँ. अपना तिब्बतियन मार्केट में सामान बेच लिया, कुछ कर लिया. They are living, they have become a part of us. So उनको तो हम हटाने की जो बात नहीं करते हैं. Because they are a part and parcel of it. आप जाओगे कभी, मैक्लियोडगंज एक जगह है हिमाचल प्रदेश में, धर्मशाला. दैट इज द कैपिटल ऑफ द दलाई लामा. जो दलाई लामा इज रनिंग अ गवर्नमेंट इन एग्जाइल फ्रॉम देयर. तो दलाई लामा का वहां, और वहां पे जो आप मार्केट देखोगे ना, कोई लूट नहीं है वहां पे. कभी मौका मिले तो यू गो देयर, तो आप देखोगे कि आपको जो मिनरल वाटर की बोतल नीचे उतनी की मिलती है, ऊपर भी उतनी ही की मिलेगी. पूरा अच्छे से वो मोमोज का ये जो मार्केट होता है, पूरा यूल गेट, यस, आप बहुत अच्छा ऑथेंटिक आपको खाना मिलेगा, चाइनीज खाना, ये सब तिब्बतियन फूड, और लेकिन लूट नहीं है वहां पे. तो दे हैव बिकम ए पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया. यहाँ पे जो बांग्लादेशी लोग रहते हैं, अभी आप देखो जो बोल रहे हैं क्यों भगाया जा रहा है, अरे तब देखो जाके सब इलीगल काम करते हैं यहाँ पे. ये जो हमारा पूरा यूनिवर्सिटी का एरिया था ना, वहां पे पूरा, जब हम लोग कॉलेज में पढ़ते थे तो वो पूरा बांग्लादेशी वहां रहा करते थे. एंड दे वर इन्वॉल्व इन ऑल टाइप्स ऑफ, वी कैन से, ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग. ये तो थैंक टू दिल्ली मेट्रो का काम शुरू हुआ तो सब उखड़ गया इसी बहाने, झुग्गी झोपड़ियां उनकी वाली. और उसमें तो वो पूरा जितना गलत काम होता था सारा वहां से चलता था. तो अगर आप इस तरह से देखते हो तो किसी को आप आश्रय देते हो, एजाइलम देते हो, सो व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड इट? ठीक है, इट इज ए पार्ट ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट. बट अगर दे आर नॉट बिहेविंग लाइक ह्यूमंस, तो उसमें क्या गलती है? हम भाई बदमाशों को तो हम अपने देश में थोड़ी ना रखोगे. तो दैट इज वाई देयर हैज बीन ए पॉलिसी ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया टू थ्रो देम आउट. ये चीज है, ठीक है ना, ये चीज. और ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि यहाँ से मुसलमानों को भगाया जा रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है. भाई तुमसे अगर कोई पूछा जाए कि तुम्हारा गांव कहाँ है, तुम बता तो दोगे गांव कहाँ है? हाँ, गांव का नाम तो बताओगे ना. यही पूछ रहे हैं कि गांव कहाँ, आए कहाँ से हो? आए हैं. कहाँ से आए हो? असम से आए. तो असम में कहाँ से आए हो? फ्रॉम वेयर यू हैव कम. तो एटलीस्ट यू नीड टू नो. आधार कार्ड है मेरे पास, आधार कार्ड तो कोई भी बना लेता है. आधार कार्ड तो कोई भी आज के दिन में भाई बना लेता है. इस देश में तो जानते हो कुछ भी बन जाता है. हाँ, तो आधार कार्ड तो बन जाता है. तो बेसिकली बॉर्डर आप क्रॉस कर जाते हो, आपके ऑफिसर्स इन्वॉल्व रहते हैं. एक कमांडर पकड़ा गया ना, वो बीएसएफ वाला, कितने पैसे उसके पास से निकले. ये सारी चीजें हैं. तो ये सब परिस्थितियों में क्रिटिसिज्म फॉरेन मीडिया हमारा करती है, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग. बट वी हैव गॉट आवर ओन इंटरेस्ट दैट वी नीड टू टेक केयर ऑफ. ये चीज है. कल कोई हमें खाना खिलाने नहीं आएगा ना, इतने तुम रेफ्यूजीज को रखे हुए, लो हमारे तरफ से इतना खाना है तुम्हारे लिए, नहीं देगा ना. हमारे और तुम्हारे टैक्स पेयर के पैसे से ही तो सब कुछ हो रहा है. नाउ कमिंग टू the another topic that we need to start today, it is part third of the constitution, that is fundamental rights. Now, before understanding this concept of fundamental rights, we need to develop an understanding of the concept of rights. Rights are not privileges. Rights are the claims of an individual on an authority. You claim something. It is not that some privileges have been given to you. It is a legal thing. And you can claim something only to an authority. Without an authority, you cannot claim something. You go somewhere and say, hey, why you will not give me? This is my right. You claim something. Right? So this is the legal dimension of rights. There is a moral dimension of rights also. Rights are those conditions of social life without which no individual can be at his or her best self. So, why the rights are given to us? For the development of our personality. So, we can also add on here is rights are needed for the development of an individual's personality. In your prelims examination, claims will be the keyword. Which of the following best explains the concept of rights? Claims of an individual. So claim will be your keyword here. It is an MCQ. Sorry, it is a PYQ, previous year question. So claim will be the word that is important for you. Now, when we talk about this word fundamental, fundamental means basic. So from where this concept of fundamental rights came? You see, the fundamental means the basic rights. Fundamental rights, basic rights. And whenever we talk about the basic rights of the people, the idea of human rights comes in our mind. Human rights. Now, if we are asked that what are human rights? See, human is the combination of two words. One is man here, and the whole word is human. Man is a biological animal. Whereas human is a sociological entity. If someone will throw a piece of chapati towards you, hey, have it. What you will say? Mama, treat me like a human being, I am not a doggy. Means you want to be treated with dignity. But if you throw a piece of chapati towards an animal, whether it is a cow, buffalo, or ox, or even doggy, that animal will have that food. But you will say that I am not an animal. It means you want to be treated with dignity. Means you want to be a sociological entity, not a biological animal. So, when we need to define human rights, the most acceptable and the easiest definition of human rights is that these are those rights which are considered essential for a dignified human existence. Now, the next question before us is that from where this concept of human rights came. You see, it all started with the concept of natural rights. The classical liberals, especially if we talk about John Locke, he gave the theory of natural rights. And for John Locke, there were three natural rights: right to life, right to liberty, and right to property. John Locke is known as the father of English liberalism. And John Locke was of the opinion that these natural rights, right to life, right to liberty, and right to property, have been given to the individual by nature. No state has given these rights to us. These rights have been given to us by nature because we are born as human beings. First of all, when we talk about right to life, who has given us this right to life? Yes, the nature, the God. The heartbeat in us, who has given? Not our mother. It is the nature. It is the nature, yes. Our parents, they worked hard to make our life meaningful. So basically, they shaped our life. No state has given this right to life to us. No individual has given this right to life to us. Secondly, if we talk about right to liberty, we had discussed when discussing liberalism that the liberals considered human being as rational beings, that man is a rational being. Rationality has been given to us by nature. And then right to property. In the 17th century, there was ample of resources. अभी जैसा नहीं है कि जमीन ही नहीं है. There was enough of land, and it was held that if a person or group of persons, they put their labor in that property, in that particular land, it will become the property of that person. It is not snatching from others. Suppose if this is a piece of land and two or three of us will put our labor here, then that will become our property. That was the concept of right to property. And John Locke and others, liberals, they were of the opinion that these rights are absolute rights. These rights were absolute rights. Here you can write it. These rights were considered as absolute rights. As absolute rights. Full stop. It was held that these rights have been given to an individual, have not been given to an individual by a state, by the state or by another individual, and that is why no one has the right to take back these rights from us. Then these rights were also considered as inalienable. These rights were also considered as inalienable. Now, if I ask you a question, that suppose a tree is there. Now, can you deprive that tree of the right to have leaves or flowers or fruits? No. You can do that only if you finish the tree. So, if the tree exists, these rights will be there. Similarly, when we are there, our existence is there, these rights cannot be alienated from us. This is the concept of inalienable rights. So, here you can write it. Just as we cannot alienate a tree from its right to have leaves, flowers and fruits without ending its existence, comma, similarly we cannot alienate an individual from these rights without ending his or her existence. Without ending his or her existence. So, it all started from the theory of natural rights. This is the first theory of natural rights, that the state only recognizes the rights. These rights have not been given to us by the state. The state has only recognized these rights, and no state, no individual can take back these rights from us. No, we are not talking about absolute right. Here we are talking about John Locke's view, that what they used to say. What they used to say. So we are talking their view. So basically, whenever we talk about any right, there is a process by which the right can be taken. So that process has to be maintained. So way back in the 17th century, basically they were talking about, they had given a theory, and they were talking about a theory that unnecessarily the state should not take it, the individual will not take it. Obviously, by law, you can take the life of a person also. Now, no theories of human rights were developed. In the modern times, we have got the first generation of rights, the second generation of rights, the third generation of rights. And no particular theory of human rights was developed by any political scientist. The concern for human rights was felt during the Second World War. Two major incidents had taken place during the Second World War. One, the mass killing of the Jews by the forces of Hitler in the name of racial supremacy. Secondly, atom bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And the whole humanity was forced to think that if the individuals, if the human beings are to be treated like animals. So, after the Second World War, the world community, it came together and it established an institution to ensure that no further wars should take place in the world. That was United Nations Organization. So, the UNO was established with the objective of stopping the future wars, and the written charter of the UN says that its objective is to stop the future wars. But as far as my understanding of the UN charter goes, it is to protect the human rights of the people across the globe. Why? Because war is the greatest, or we can say the biggest challenge or to human rights. War is the greatest violation of human rights in the world. And war leads to loss of life. Not only the soldiers die, the civilians also die. Not only this, people become refugees, leading to loss of property. The children become orphans. Women become widows. What else you want? So, war is the greatest violation of human rights. And if any organization wants to stop the future wars, it means that it wants to protect the human rights of the people across the globe. But in the Charter of the United Nations, our human rights were not codified. That these are the human rights of the people. The efforts continued, and the representatives of different states belonging to different groups, they came together and they drafted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was adopted by the UN General Assembly on 10th of December 1948. And that document, which is popularly known as the UDHR, contains our human rights. Though these human rights are not binding on the states, but it is expected that every democratic country should have more and more human rights mentioned in the law of the land. Those human rights which we have incorporated in part 3rd of the Indian Constitution, they are termed as fundamental rights. So the fundamental rights are nothing but they are human rights. So this is the understanding of fundamental right. This is how the fundamental rights, they have their roots in the human rights. You can write it. The UN General Assembly, the UN General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, in Paris, PARIS, in Paris, on 10th December 1948. As a common standard of achievement, as a common standard of achievements for all people and all nations, full stop. This day is observed as International Human Rights Day. International Human Rights Day. Next, the UDHR is the source of human rights. The UDHR is the source of human rights in the world. Underline, source of human rights in the world. So even in the interviews, if someone will ask you that which document is the source of human rights, then it will be the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We are not supposed to write the theory of natural rights. ये तो theory है, but that is the source, because in that document our human rights have been codified. Next point you can write here. The UDHR sets out comma, for the first time comma, fundamental human rights to be universally protected, and it has been translated into over 500 languages. Full stop. The UDHR contains wide gamut of rights. Gamut, GAMUT. I repeat, the UDHR contains wide gamut. Gamut means variety. Gamut of rights which are civil, political, cultural, as well as economic rights. Next, the UDHR contains a preamble and 30 articles. A preamble and 30 articles. Full stop. In the next sentence, some of the human rights are, आप इसको ना पॉइंट में लिख लो, ये प्रीलिम्स के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. और ऐसे भी यू नीड टू हैव एन आइडिया अबाउट द ह्यूमन राइट्स, क्योंकि कभी ऐसे लिखने के लिए आएगा that is on human rights, whether human right as a global concern in this world. So आप जानोगे नहीं कि what are your human rights, so how you can write an essay on that? So you need to be aware about the human rights. Not only this, आप compare कर सकते हो कि okay, these are human rights and this is there in part 3rd of the constitution. So then in the prelims examination, not only in the UPSC examination, but in the state PCS examination, in the examination of CAPF also, we have seen that the questions have been asked that which one of the following is not a human right? Which of the following is a human right? So you people must be aware that what are your human rights. So from the essay point of view, from the mains point of view, as well as from the prelims point of view. So मैं बहुत जो important है मैं सब आपको बता देता हूं, लिख लो. First, everyone has the right to life. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. And security of person. Next, no one to be held in slavery. And security of person. Then next, no one to be held in slavery. So slavery and slave trade has been prohibited. Then next, no one to be subjected to torture, or to cruel torture, 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 comma, cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. Degrading treatment or punishment. ये गलत है. जो लैंप के पोस्ट पे चला के गोली मार देते हैं ना, ये सब पब्लिक हैंगिंग, ये सब जो है ये गलत है. टॉर्चर करना, पुलिस जो ये सब नेल्स वेल्स निकालती है, ये सब गलत है. ठीक है, हाँ करती है तो ये वायलेशन है ह्यूमन राइट्स का. ये 3rd डिग्री जो देते हैं ना पुलिस वाले, ये गलत है. ये इसलिए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में भी हमारा है, इसीलिए मैं रिलेट करवाऊंगा तुम लोगों को ना, कैसे है जानोगे तभी तो. देन क्योंकि ह्यूमन राइट्स नहीं जानोगे, कल आईपीएस बन जाओगे तो दिक्कत हो जाएगी ना. हाँ, ये उस टाइम पे पढ़ाया जाएगा आपको, जाओगे ना वहां हैदराबाद में, ये सब पढ़ाया जाएगा. कॉन्स्टेबलरी को ट्रेनिंग नहीं मिलती है, बट आईपीएस ऑफिसर्स और जो सब इंस्पेक्टर रैंक के होते हैं उनको ह्यूमन राइट्स की पढ़ाई जाती है. देन नेक्स्ट यू कैन राइट, all are equal before law, all are equal before the law, and are entitled to equal protection of the law, equal protection of the law. Next, right to an effective remedy, right to an effective EFF, effective remedy by the competent national tribunal. National tribunal means court. National tribunal for acts violating the fundamental rights, violating the fundamental rights granted to him by the Constitution. That is why we have got the right to constitutional remedies. We have also got this right. If our fundamental rights are violated, you can go to the court. Then next, right to equality to a fair and public hearing, by an independent and impartial tribunal, IMPARTIAL, impartial tribunal. Next, right to be presumed innocent, right to be presumed innocent until proved guilty. I repeat, right to be presumed innocent until proved guilty. जब तक दोष नहीं सिद्ध हो जाता है तब तक यू विल नॉट बी कंसीडर्ड एज एन एक्यूज्ड. आप एक्यूज्ड रहोगे, यू आर नॉट ए कन्विक्ट. कोर्ट जब तक बोलती है कि इसने चोरी किया था तभी चोर, उसके पहले नहीं. ही इज एन एक्यूज्ड एंड ही मे बी इनोसेंट ऑल्सो. देन नेक्स्ट, right against arbitrary interference with privacy or family. Right to arbitrary interference with privacy or family. Next, right to freedom of movement, and residence within the borders of each state, So you have not only this, you have the right to leave your own country, you have the right to come back to your own country also. That is why passport is issued by the country. Next, right to seek, SEEK, right to seek and to enjoy asylum, right to seek and to enjoy asylum in other countries. Asylum, ASULUM, asylum का मतलब होता है शरण लेना. Asylum in other countries in case of persecution. So if a person is not feeling safe in the country, he is being persecuted, he can ask for asylum. आपका right है मांगना, देना नहीं देना उस देश का अधिकार है. Then next, right to a nationality. Right to a nationality. So this right also include the right to change the nationality also. That is why every country has law related to citizenship. How the citizenship can be acquired, how it can be lost. Then next, right to marry, right to marry and found a family, and found a family, परिवार बनाना, फॉर्म से हुआ फाउंड. लेकिन यहां पे ये नहीं है कि कोई बाल विवाह कर लो, वो लिखा हुआ है मेन एंड वुमेन ऑफ फुल एज. मेन एंड वुमेन ऑफ फुल एज, पूरा मैं नहीं आपको बता रहा हूं, सिर्फ एग्जाम में एंसर करने के लिए बता रहा हूं. तो मेन एंड वुमेन ऑफ फुल एज, what will be that full age? That is to be decided by your country. That what is the full age? खाना ही नहीं खाना सीखे, शादी पहले करेंगे यहाँ पे. हाँ, इंडिया में बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. मतलब हाँ, यहाँ पे अपना खाना नहीं है, बस हम शादी कर लें, तो वो चीज है. तो पहले ही बता दिया, इसमें माँ बाप बीच में बोलेंगे तो जा नहीं सकते हो, जब तक बालिग नहीं होगे तब तक नहीं. हाँ, बता दे रहा हूँ, ये नहीं कि सर बताए नहीं थे, कि एक ही पार्ट सर बताते हैं, सर दोनों पार्ट बताया आपको. चलो नेक्स्ट, राइट टू ओन प्रॉपर्टी. राइट टू ओन, OWN, राइट टू ओन प्रॉपर्टी. यहां पे भी है कि नो वन शैल बी आर्बिट्ररली डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ हिज प्रॉपर्टी. इंडिया में हमने एक आर्टिकल 31 में रखा था राइट टू ओन प्रॉपर्टी, और आर्टिकल 19 में हमने क्लॉज एफ में रखा था कि नो वन टू बी डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ हिज प्रॉपर्टी. तो दोनों को हमने हटा करके मर्ज करके आर्टिकल 300A में कर दिया. देन नेक्स्ट, राइट टू फ्रीडम ऑफ थॉट. राइट टू फ्रीडम ऑफ थॉट, conscience, right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. Conscience means inner freedom of an individual to follow a religion. Conscience and religion. It will include the right to change your religion also. If you're not happy with your religion, you can change your religion also. Next, right to freedom of opinion and expression. Right to freedom of opinion and expression. Then right to freedom of peaceful assembly. Right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. And association. Next, right to take part. Right to take part in the government of. Right to take part in the government of his country. So you can directly or indirectly. अगर direct democracy है तो directly, indirect democracy है, that is through your representatives. Next, right of equal access. Right of equal access, 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 access to public service, to public service in his country. In his country. तो अगर रिजर्वेशन का है बेनिफिट, पब्लिक जो भी है, तो वो सर्विस आपको, अगर आप इक्वल प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लॉज में है, आपको मिलेगा. फ्री राशन अगर आपको मिलता है तो सबको मिलेगा. तो वो है जो सर्विसेज स्टेट प्रोवाइड करती है, यू आर एंटाइटल्ड फॉर दैट. नेक्स्ट, राइट टू सोशल सिक्योरिटी. राइट टू सोशल सिक्योरिटी. देन राइट टू वर्क. राइट टू वर्क, कॉमा, choice of employment. Choice of employment and just, 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 just and favorable conditions of work, favorable conditions of work. Next, right to form trade unions, right to form and join trade unions. Then right to rest, right to rest. क्लास में सोना नहीं, हाँ वीकली ऑफ जो मजदूर करते हैं उसके बाद का है, हाँ ये चीज है, ये हम लोग के लिए है, हाँ ये श्रमजीवी लोगों के लिए है, जो श्रम करते हैं उनके लिए है, क्लास में सोना नहीं, और पढ़ना कोई श्रम नहीं है, हाँ ये ध्यान रखना, पढ़ना है कि फ्यूचर में हम श्रम करेंगे इसीलिए हम पढ़ रहे हैं, और जब उस वक्त श्रम करोगे तो छुट्टी मिलेगी। हाँ, चलो नहीं तुम लोग गलत मीनिंग फिर निकाल लोगे ना, हाँ इसीलिए। चलो नेक्स्ट लिखिएगा, राइट टू अ स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग, राइट टू अ स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग। Then right to education, right to education. Then right to freely participate, freely participate in the cultural life of the community, freely participate in the cultural life of the community. ये मैंने ना पूरा आपको समरी पूरा बता दिया है, ठीक है ना, क्योंकि ना एक एक आर्टिकल में ना तीन तीन एक ही तरह के राइट्स दिए गए हैं, तो तुम लोग उतना पढ़ोगे तो थोड़ा सा आप कहां ढूंढोगे क्या पढ़ोगे, तो इसीलिए मैंने एक जगह लिखवा दिया है कि एग्जाम के पहले आप जाकर के कम से कम देख करके जाइएगा, ये सारी चीजें यही तुम लोगों को दूसरे स्टूडेंट से अलग करेगा। अब खत्म कर देता हूं, एक इसको लिख लो एक सेंटेंस और, दीज ह्यूमन राइट्स are not binding on the countries, these human rights are not binding on the countries, but it is expected that a democratic country, it is expected that a democratic country should incorporate more and more human rights, should incorporate more and more human rights in its constitution and guarantee it to the people, and guarantee it to the people. Full stop. Those human rights which have been incorporated in part 3rd of the constitution, in part 3rd of the constitution, I repeat, those human rights which have been incorporated in part 3rd of the constitution are termed as fundamental rights. Termed as fundamental rights. Then next sentence, और नोट करके लिख लो, the preamble, comma, the directive principles of state policy, DPSPs, and fundamental duties are the other parts of the constitution, which reflect the human rights, This statement is also a question, that विच ऑफ द पार्ट्स ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन रिफ्लेक्ट द ह्यूमन राइट्स। तो आप देखो बहुत सारे ह्यूमन राइट्स तो आपके फंडामेंटल राइट में आ गए। फिर राइट टू वर्क, ये सब जो है ये कहां से आया? इट इज द डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी। देन इफ यू टॉक अबाउट प्रियम्बल, द प्रियम्बल टॉक्स अबाउट इक्वलिटी, ठीक है। द प्रियम्बल टॉक्स अबाउट लिबर्टी ऑफ थॉट, एक्सप्रेशन, बिलीफ, तो प्रियम्बल आ गया। फिर फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज में आ गया, तो एजुकेशन वगैरह प्रोवाइड करना, क्योंकि इसमें एक फंडामेंटल आपको मैंने नहीं बताया कि द पेरेंट्स विल डिसाइड ऑन द नेचर ऑफ एजुकेशन टू बी गिवन, सो इट इज ऑल्सो मेंशन, सो सच टाइप ऑफ ड्यूटीज आर ऑल्सो देयर। तो इसमें ये तीनों आ जाएंगे। तो सच टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस विल बी देयर इन द प्रीलिम्स एग्जामिनेशन इवन फ्रॉम द ह्यूमन राइट्स। क्योंकि प्रीलिम्स के सिलेबस में पता है क्या लिखा है? फंडामेंटल राइट नहीं लिखा है, लिखा है राइट्स इश्यूज। If you see that syllabus of your, we can say, prelims examination, it is mentioned rights issues. तो ये सब जो है आप देखोगे इसमें ह्यूमन राइट्स आर ऑल्सो देयर। इसलिए ना बहुत ही थोड़ा सा वाइडर वे में पढ़ना होता है, ये नहीं कि फंडामेंटल राइट में पढ़ा तो सिर्फ आर्टिकल 12, 13, 14, 15 रट लिया, ठीक है। सो दीज वे द थिंग्स दैट वी नीडेड टू डिस्कस इन टुडेज क्लास। वी स्टॉप हियर फॉर द डे एंड आई विल सी यू टुमारो। बोलो। ह्यूमन, हाँ ह्यूमन कोई भी, ऑल द इंडिविजुअल्स विल बी ह्यूमन बीइंग्स। नहीं, बट देर आर सर्टेन राइट्स विच हैव टू बी गिवन टू एवरीवन, विच हैव टू बी गिवन टू एवरीवन, वो सबको मिलता है। तो ह्यूमन बीइंग तो ह्यूमन भी, चाहे वो सोल्जर रहे चाहे वो कोई भी रहे, सो दैट विल बी देयर, कोई भी रहेगा, ये चीज। हाँ वो तो अगर आपके यहां के दहशत फैला रहा है तो वो दैट इज ए डिफरेंट थिंग, तो वो आपका कानून डिसाइड करेगा कि उसको कैसे सजा देना है, लेकिन उसको भी अपनी बात रखने का अधिकार होगा। ही विल ऑल्सो हैव द राइट। ये नहीं कि आर्बिट्ररी पनिशमेंट कहीं भी मिलता है। आप देखो कसाब भी था, तो कसाब को भी चांस दिया गया बोलने के लिए, उसको सरकार ने वकील दिया कि आपको वकील चाहिए, तो कसाब को भी वकील दिया गया। तो वो ठीक है, टेररिस्ट है, उसने कोई इनह्यूमन काम किया है, लेकिन ये कोर्ट डिसाइड करेगी कि ये किस तरह का पनिशमेंट है। हमारे और आपका बस चलेगा तो हम लोग तो क्या बोलेंगे? फांसी दो बोलने लगते हैं ना, ठीक है। हम लोग के यहां क्या होता है? पब्लिक जस्टिस होता है। हम लोग के यहां क्या होता है? मीडिया ट्रायल होता है, पब्लिक ट्रायल होता है, बट असली ट्रायल होता है कोर्ट में। और जब तक कोई आदमी कोर्ट के द्वारा कन्विक्ट नहीं होगा तब तक वो इनोसेंट माना जाता है। बहुत सारे मूवी में देखे होगे ना, दैट इज इनोसेंट टिल प्रूवन गिल्टी। तो ये है, कोर्ट बोलेगी कि ठीक तुमने सजा किया, पुलिस को भी तुम्हें छूने का अधिकार नहीं है। ये हम लोगों ने आर्टिकल 20 में रखा है। बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसे ऐसे करके हम लोग डेवलप कर लेंगे, ठीक है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग। चलें घर।